Good day, friends. It is me, HLModTech, and I'm here today with a tutorial how to make your own print-in-place car. So let's get cracking. Friends, a quick bit of backstory. I've got a tutorial for a print-in-place car. It prints standing up. I turned it over so it was easier to see, and Tinkercad designer Speedy Machine saw it. He took my tutorial and turned it into this epic car. Friends, it prints just like that, and when you're done, the wheels roll. It all happens in once, which is why it's called a print-in-place design. And friends, Speedy Machine was super awesome and gave me permission to take his project and turn it into a tutorial. So friends, the first step, of course, is to name it. Let's do PIP, which is print in place, and let's type car. I'm going to type V5 because I've done this more than once. Friends, step one is to bring out a block, and I'm going to tell you that we need to click on this corner, and I want you to make it 70 this way, and I want you to make it 36 high. And then the depth, and I'm going to show you to look at the corner so you can see this, and the depth needs to be 10.5 and press enter. This is going to be the central body of our car. Alright friends, so that is not much of a car shape. Let's add some coolness to it by bringing out the wedge. When you get this wedge out, we need to stand it up. I'm going to tell you to do it on this one right here. And notice if we flip it negative 90 degrees, now it's got a shape we can use. I'm going to tell you to grab one of these corners and hold shift and shrink it. And we want the number 2 and press enter. Press F to zoom in. And then we want to make it a lot taller. Where it says 30, I'm going to tell you to type 36 and press enter. When you zoom out, you'll see that now this actually matches our car body. Now we're going to use this little guy a ton. We're going to start by putting him up here in the front. Select the 2 of them. Do a line, and we want to nudge it to the very front. We're going to flip it. I want you to flip it this way, and then we want to attach it right here. Well, friends, we do that with the work plane. Press D to drop, put the work plane back on the ground, and bam, you've just added a cool corner to the front. We're going to do Control D. We're going to use Shift Nudge to move it to the back. F to fit view. Friends, this is going to line up fine, but we need to flip it for back here. Boom, now it's good. Select the 2, once again choose a line, and I'm picking the red one as the boss, so it snaps right to that spot right there. Let's quickly fill in this bottom area by simply doing Control D. I'll use Shift Nudge so you can see it move. And then remember that was size 2 on a side, so we know we need to make this 2, and the whole thing was 70, so that means we need to subtract 4. So let's type 66 and press enter. Put our work plane right back here. Make sure it's selected, do D to drop, and you'll see it goes in that spot. We can just nudge it back 1-2 clicks, or we could have done a line and make this one the boss and chosen center. Now we have got the bottom of our car all lined up. I'm going to put the work plane back on the ground, and I want these 2 to be grouped so it looks like one solid shape. That'll just make it look cooler as we build. Friends, we're going to use this cool little wedge again, so click on it, do Control D, which is duplicate. We're going to bring it out. Friends, now we're going to turn this to use it on the front of our vehicle. I'm going to tell you to put F to fit view. Make sure you're looking at it from a corner so you can find that rotation handle right there. And then we want to type 90 degrees when we rotate. So I'm going to click the box, type 90, and you can see now that flat edge is going to go against that wall. Real quickly, I'm going to put the work plane there by pressing W. I'm going to hit D to drop. Friends, I'm going to put the work plane down on the ground so this makes sense. You can see I'm going to just nudge it across. Once you get it out there, you can hit Align by doing the letter L, clicking the red one, and let's click up on the top so that piece is in place. We're going to use this one again. This time I'll click Duplicate, or you can hit Control D. Use the arrow keys to move it back, and this time we're going to flip it. So I just want to flip it this way, and then friends, this is so cool, we're just going to stretch it down to size 7, and just like that, your front of your vehicle's got a little bit of shape to it. Friends, we're going to use this little guy again. Do Control D, and then we want to move it all the way to the top, so I'm just going to do this. I'll spin around so I can see that better, and we want to flip it. So once again, I'm going to click flip, and I want it this way. I'm going to hit the work plane, which is the letter W. We're going to hit D to drop. Keep it at size 2, but we're going to stretch it back 20. So type 20 in that direction, and bam, you have got a hood on your vehicle. Let's put our work plane back down on the ground. W for work plane. Click on this guy again and do Control D, and I'm going to do Shift Nudge twice back, and it's at the exact spot I want to put my windshield. Now we're going to change the windshield's measurements to 8. That'll be how high up it goes, and we're going to make it 11, and we're going to press Enter. Now we need to bring it to this edge, so we're going to do the arrow key twice. Notice if you go the wrong way, just go the other way to fix it. But you want to be right there on that corner. We're going to fill in this hole with a rectangle. Let's bring that rectangle out real quick. We know it needs to be 2 millimeters thick, so we can just do 2 and press Enter. And then we're going to make this distance 50. Remember, the whole vehicle was 70, so we're going from there to there. And if you remember right, we need to make the height 36 and press Enter. Let's click the work plane and put it on that spot. D to drop. And then we're also going to move it all the way to the back. You can do that with your arrow keys, or you can just select those two and group them so that they stay permanently together. And we put the work plane back down on the ground to see what we've built. Alright friends, we are going to reuse this again. Once again, Control D. Use your arrow keys to move it across. We do need to flip it this way. And then the measurements, we need to click on these corners, and instead of 11, we're going to make that 21, and we're going to keep the 8. Alright friends, now we need to bring the part that sits inside these. We're going to do it with a cube. Once again, the height is 36. This measurement is going to be 18. And of course the thickness, so that it fits what we already built, is 8. We're going to put the work plane on this spot, press D to drop, and then just use the arrow key to nudge it back into place. We're also going to nudge this one back so it's in the exact right spot as well. Alright friends, now we are going to use the back of this for a fin. Do Control D again. We're going to change the measurements to 6, and we're going to change this height instead of 8 back to 2. We need to put it back on this part, so I'm going to hide this for a second. W for work plane, D for drop. And we need to flip that, and we want to flip it this way. Now when we hit show all, we have got the sweet side and back of our car. How cool is that? Alright friends, I want you to grab these 3 pieces. So make sure it says 3, and I want you to do Control D, nudge them up with Shift Nudge so they're out of the way, and make them a group. We're going to use those a little bit later. Friends, we're going to use this one more time. Control D, and I'm going to just nudge it out. This time it's going to be a hole. Now I made a mistake back here. We're going to fix it real quick. Watch this. We are going to ungroup, and we're going to ungroup so we can get back to this part right here. See how I typed 66? We're changing it to 64, and we want to move this 2 clicks in. Now we're going to take this part and we're going to cut off a chunk right here so it has a nice slope. Let's do F to fit view so we're looking real close, and we want to rotate them 90 degrees. Notice I stayed in the circle, and then we want this edge to be the other side, so we're just going to flip it like that. Now this will trim right down here. If we do Shift Select and then Shift click this shape, choose a line, click the red one, and we want it to come to that corner. And then if you zoom all the way out, we want it to also go to the bottom. Friends, you have just made your car body. Select it all and hit group. I'm going to change it to blue just because I think it's pretty darn cool. And friends, you have got the car body. Alright friends, this is really, really cool. I want you to hold down Alt and Shift, which shrinks it about its center, and see how that was 50? We're going to change it to 48. So we took away 2 millimeters in every direction. I want you to bring out a cube. I want you to make sure it's 40 tall or a little bit higher. You can pick that. Let's snap it to 22.5 degrees, and you can pick where you want your back window to cut off. I'm going to cut mine right there, and let's group it. Friends, turn that into a hole. Our window is almost ready for cutting. We just need to make it taller. Let's go 38 so it pokes out. Let's do F to fit view, and let's nudge it down into where we want to cut out our windows. Right there, that leaves a nice amount around. You can adjust that till you're exactly happy. I think I'm going to turn on my 0.25 nudge and go up 2 clicks. I think that's going to be perfect. I'm going to go back to 1 millimeter nudge, and let's group it. Friends, you have got a car body with a cutout windshield. How cool is that? Alright friends, let's build our wheel and axle, and then I'll show you how to cut out the holes for them. First, bring out a cylinder. Make sure you make the sides totally round. Hold down shift, stretch it to Crazyville. The number you're going to type is size 13. The thickness is 6 and press enter. That is your wheel. On top of it, we're going to put a sloped piece. This isn't really necessary on the bottom, but on the top, it helps it print. We're going to change the radius to match that 13 by typing 6.5 and pressing enter, and we want the height to be 6.5 as well. Once again, easier to print if you increase the slope. Choose them both, click, align, pop, pop. So that's going to be the bottom. Grab those two, do Control D, do Control up to raise it up in the air, flip it up and down. If you can't see it, make sure you use this angle. And then we need those two to be grouped. We didn't have to group the bottom because they were already lined up. These, though, we're going to do Shift Select, and we want to align with the top of the car, just like that. Now we need to put a cylinder in between. This is going to be our axle. It is fine to have it sit right there. Hold down Shift, stretch it to any number, but then the size you're going to type is 6. We need to make it somewhere in the 25s so that it's the right height. Select everything you just made, click Align, and center and center. Friends, that's your awesome wheel and axle. We're going to use it again and again, so let's switch to your creations and let's create a shape of it. It'll take this, we're going to call it wheel and axle, and we're going to put wheel, axle, and also print in place, because you may want to use this over and over again. Never lock the part size, leave it a solid, and save that shape. It does take a moment, but then you'll see it is right here. Watch this, we're going to delete this one, and now when we bring this one out, even though it shows two colors, it is one solid piece. I will put the work plane on the ground and hit drop so it's at the right height for our vehicle. Alright friends, let's make the sweet cutout holes. First, bring out a cylinder, make it size 64. Hold shift, stretch it anywhere, but then type 15. Change the height of it to 6 and press enter. Bring out a cube, hold down shift, stretch it to Crazyville, also type 15 and press enter. Change the height to 6. Change the length on this side to 7.5. And then when you do align, we want to align them to the center and bottom edges just like that. We are going to put the work plane back on top. Work plane. Bring out the cone. We're going to change the cone's radius to 7.5. We're going to also make the height 7.5 and press enter. We do need to make it a hole. Let's group these bottom pieces and let's grab all three pieces. And this time when you do a line, you can do center, and that part is right at the top like it's supposed to be. Now friends, we are going to add the green roof. We're going to change its measurements one at a time. 15 and 7.5 and 7.5. And then this aligns with the front of the project. So once again, select it all, and we want front and center. We do want that all to be a hole, and we want it all to be grouped. Let's put the work plane back down on the ground. That is the W key. We'll do Control D. Let's do Control up to raise that up. We can flip it, and then we want to align this with the same height as the wheel. So I'm going to do Shift Select, Align, make the wheel the boss, and bam, that is the right height. Alright friends, let me show you how these two parts go together. I'm going to do Shift Select, and we're going to do Align. We'll let this one be the boss, and we want to do center and center. So when this comes in here, notice there is a 1mm gap all the way around it. That is exactly what we want. Right now we need to cut out an axle hole. We're going to do that with a cylinder. Before we do that though, we're going to lock this so nothing we do is going to move that. So we've got our axle. Make the sides super round. Hold down shift, and we're going to type 7.25. We need to make it about 25 high, and we need to do a line I'm going to just select these middle chunks. Notice it says 2. We'll let the orange one be the boss and choose center and center. So that is lined up and ready for cutting. I am going to do control up just to raise that up a couple, even though it wouldn't have hurt anything. We're going to save that as a shape. Check this out. If you do shift nudge, because that was locked, it stays in place. And we can simply return to your creations, and this one's going to be called the axle hole. Once again, you can tag it. I'm going to put axle. I'm going to put print in place. And I'm going to hit save changes. Once again, never locking the part size. Now that I've got that shape, friends, I'm going to delete that part. Friends, now that we've got that shape, I want to bring it out. I'm going to bring out 2 of those. I'm also going to bring out a second wheel and axle. Friends, let me show you how we're going to place these axle holes. I need you to move your axle hole till it's right on the corner of one of these lines. So I've got a grid corner right there. If you hit F, you can see it a little bit better. Then I want you to bring out the ruler and put it on that exact same corner. If you miss, you can grab and adjust it. So now I've got mine lined up. Now I'm going to click on the second shape and notice it has measurements. I want you to make sure that this measurement is -11, like mine is. I want you to make sure that this measurement right here is 6 and press enter. Notice it moves our car and axle to the exact right distance. How slick is that? Now we want to compare it to the second one. See how it says -3? We want that instead to be 0. And then we want this gap right here, instead of 45, I want you to make it 40 and press enter. It nudges that back and has our wheels and axles pretty decent. I'm going to tell you that the magic distance there is 38 and press enter. How slick is that for using the ruler to get our wheels and axles exactly where we want? Friends, you can click this X to get rid of the ruler. Friends, let's align these by doing shift, select, and choose an align. Click on this piece to be the master and choose center and center. Do the same thing for the second one. Shift, select. We want to do align, make the hole the master, and choose center and center. You can see those parts are right in the middle. We are going to add one more part here for strength. We need to go back to our basic shapes, bring out a cylinder. We need to set its sides to 64, shift, shrink, and I want you to type 10.5 and press enter. We're going to make it 25 high, and we're going to do shift, select, and align it to this part, and we want it to be middle, middle, and middle. And then we're going to do Control D and do that same thing back to the back. Once again with shift, select. This time we only have to do the middle and middle, and you friends have just built your awesome car. The final thing is to hide this, lock the axle, hide this one, lock the axle, show all, group, and after a moment, be amazed. I'm going to unlock the axles. Friends, as you can see, if we hit T for transparent, there is a hollow area all the way around those wheels so that when this car prints out, it will be able to move as soon as it's done. That, my friends, is what print in place is all about. Alright everybody, so I'm going to turn off transparency with the letter T. Let's real quickly cut in some headlights. I'm going to put the work plane right here. I'm going to bring out the whole rectangle. I am going to just use the black handle to drag these in. Set my nudge to 0.25. When I've got the numbers that I think are cool, like I think that's going to look pretty nifty and that's going to look pretty nifty, I'm going to do Control D, shift nudge to move it down, and then this is one of my favorite techniques. If I take those two and group them, and then I do shift select on the car body, I can choose a line, and as long as I pick the middle of the car body, my lights are now in the exact right spot. I want to take those and I want to push them in, so I'm going to do Control down arrow, and I'm going to do a whole millimeter, so that was 4 clicks. If we do shift select and group, I have just cut in some nifty headlight areas. I'm going to switch to the back. Let's do work plane and put it back on the ground. And I'm going to put some cute little tail lights back here. This area is flat, so I can just set it on the flat. I'm going to do these with cylinders. Always make them round. Hold down shift and shrink them to the size I want. I think those are going to look pretty nifty. Move them into the spot where I want them. I'm going to do Control D and make 2 sets. So I'm going to take these 2 actually and group them. Control G is the shortcut for group. Now I can do Control D and shift nudge to move it. I'm going to click on both sets and I'm going to group them. And then once again, shift select the body, do a line, and I can get those right in the middle just like that. Click this, hold down shift, click the body, and group it. And friends, I'm going to call that little itty bitty car done. Alrighty friends, so there it is, our sweet print-in-place car. Hopefully you understand now how the whole system works. Thank you so much Speedy Designs for completing my initial tutorial and sharing this awesome version with me. Oh my gosh, unbelievably cool, and this was so fun to work through. Friends, make sure you check in the description so you can learn more about Speedy Machines. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Please also hit that share button so more people can learn about HLModTech. Of course, if you got a question, comment, or suggestion, add it down below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Smash that subscribe button. And last but not least, hit that notification bell if you want to be the first to know when there's a brand new video from me, HLModTech. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.